So let's start with the things. Okay. So before that, can I get a small introduction kind of thing about only your experience, so that I am aware of the experience level that this class has, or maybe this demo, people from the demo has. You can your experience in IT.
Yeah, like myself, myself, working as a technology lead in the one of the IT organization, and I am working as a QA, in the QA department.
Mhm.
Recently in my organization, everything is coming onto that GWS servers, and there is so much migrations are going on actually. So that's why
Exactly.
just I want to take a look
Update.
into that AWS, and what are the things are there, and actually we have different certifications also, right? If we
Yeah,
do any certifications inside the organization, if we have any grow, it will helpful to our career, right? So that's why just I joined this session.
yeah. Okay, sure. And Yugenda,
Yeah, myself only I told
sorry,
Yugender.
Yogi. Yogi. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I have total 6 years of experience, and I am working as a senior software engineer. So actually, in my organization, we have a lot of requirements that means our managers are trying us to get the hold over these new cloud technologies, and they are trying to implement it into the client projects. So even client is forcing us to learn all these new things. So any cloud technologies. So I joined this session just to
Okay.
have a outlook over this cloud computing things and what are things are available that I can do. I have some basics of AWS. I started learning on my own, but I wanted to have a certification. That's why I joined this course.
Okay. Okay. Ramakrishna. Uh, yeah. Hi, Ramakrishna. We just started with this. We are getting acquainted with our experience level, so that the demo can happen in that particular way. Okay. So only your experience in IT.
Yeah, currently I'm having 10 plus years experience.
Mhm.
Uh,
Okay.
and I want to give us a certification on this one AWS, so that's why I joined.
Sure. Okay. So I see that this is a batch where minimum of 5 to 6 years of experience are there. Yogesh, Yuginder, and Rama, right? And my even let it be a demo, or the next 30 to 45 days, which in the workshop or the training for this cloud AWS, if we are doing it, it will be an interactive session. Okay, where I'll be asking you some of the queries, and you will be totally engaged upon letting me know the examples of whatever questions that I'm asking. It's not like where I join, I give, say blah blah blah, and then the demo is completed, or the end of the day you are just listening to it. It's an interactive session. Okay. Now, fine with that, Yogesh, Yugender, and Rama. Yep, you're on mute. So I'll be asking some of the questions. You should be little prompt on it. Okay. Can I get an confirmation on that?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. So as said, you guys are little experienced, but still have patience, and what we can understand the demo here. The things that I'm asking is will be very basic level, but everything has its own importance in, because here from we are moving from an on-prem to a cloud, right? So everything is selected as a parameter. Let it be your operating system or your hardware configuration, right? So let's start with the demo. Okay. So can I understand in which laptop or a computer or a desktop in front of you, which operating system that you're using, all of you, Yogesh, Yugender, and Rama?
So myself, I am using a Windows laptop.
Windows. Okay.
Mm.
Others?
Even I am on Windows. OS is Windows.
Okay. Anybody on Mac or Unix? No. Okay. How many types of different operating systems are there?
Yeah, Windows and Mac OS and Linux.
Okay. And what's an operating system? A basic definition.
Yeah, basic definition means
So operating
yeah,
system is like an interface between you and the hardware that is present, right? So
yes.
if you have a laptop or a small box, we just installed as an hardware without an operating system. So it will be a just black box within hardware, right? Without operating system, your keyboard, your mouse doesn't work. And then you have the hardware part in it. Okay, and then you have application, that's apps installed. For example, you have the application like GoTo Training Live that you are being using it. And what are the other applications on your top of an operating system that you're using? Any example that I can get? You have your Chrome
Yeah,
browser, right?
yeah,
You have
Microsoft
Chrome browser,
is,
or you can be you might have installed a gaming application on your laptop or a desktop, or Netflix as an icon. Okay, or maybe Microsoft Office is also a kind of application in your uh, about the operating system. You have first have the hardware, the operating system, and the applications. Now applications are of two types. One is an open source, okay, and then you have the closed source. I'll keep it as CS. Any exam? What is an open source application and a closed source application, and what are the differences?
So open sources means like we need to like no need to pay like any cost for the licenses, and for that commercials one like we need to pay some amount for to use the service.
Okay. And anything on the editable part of it, you can change the source code as per your requirement. Here you cannot change. Any example of open source that you can give me?
Suppose in the testing tools we have a Selenium, but in the commercial license we have UFT tools, right? Like in the testing part, like I'm telling in the testing tools.
Sure, sure.
Uh,
Any example of the closed source? Ramakrishna. Yeah, so very basic open source. You don't need to pay if you're using it for your commercial part. You need to pay a small license fee and let them know that okay, they are being used for the commercial part. Then the source code, if it is a game, you can change the little bit of the source code and then play with it. But in the closed source, just like your Microsoft operating system, which is a closed source example, and languages. How many languages do you guys know? Can anybody list down the languages?
yeah, Java, Python, C Sharp,
Java, Python, C Sharp.
C Sharp, C++, C programming language.
Okay,
Then we
C.
have a lot of other.
Now, which are open source and which are closed source? Any example for open source?
Open source is Python, Java, C++ is
Python.
also open source.
Yeah, closed source.
C
Closed
sharp
source,
will become.
yeah, C Sharp is a closed source licensed.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's open with the PPT and see. Okay, what? So history of applications. Yeah. Okay. So you understand what is an application and what is the difference? Why do you call your system or laptop or the desktop that you're using in front of you as a PC, personal computer? Any idea? You have your laptop or the desktop and it's called as a PC, home computers or personal computer, you call it, right? Or the laptop. Why do you call it? Any idea? Is
So
it
why?
because,
Because like it will be used by single person, right? And the computer which is assigned for the single person.
but you
But
have an
if it
admin also, right? You have an admin, you can create another user, can create another user in it. What do you call it as a PC?
Because each user has a separate account on which he is responsible to load his work data and work accordingly. That will not interfere other user accounts.
Okay.
The
Any
things
other
available.
example?
and also at a single instance of time, only single user can only use our laptop, right? Or means our individual system, right?
Yeah, exactly. So those points also are there. One more important point is that you might have 250 GB of hard disk or maybe 500 GB of hard disk, and the operating system is designed for the PC. That's the reason you have they have named it as the uh, PC OS. Okay, the operating system you install in your laptop or the desktop is a kind of PC. The hardware is has the configuration of this list only. Now, can you give me an example where you have different operating system, not like Windows, Mac or other, but you have different servers, right? You as an experience, you understand what's a server. A server will have a different hardware configuration. They have a different operating system, and applications which run on these servers are also different when you compare it with your PC. Am I right? Any
Yes,
doubts in
yes.
that? Okay, okay. So that is the difference between the operating system at the server level and the your laptop or the desktop level. And you know what's the different languages in store? There's a C, C++, Java, Python, .NET, and what is open source and closed source. Now, the what is the waterfall model and life cycle waterfall model in making a project?
So waterfall model means once the development is completed, later the testing part will be completed, and so later the product will be come into the market. Means
Okay,
first of all the planning, later like development. Once we development of entire application, then it will come to the testing purpose. So later it come to the production. This kind of
okay,
the process is that waterfall, like it is the old model actually.
exactly. Yeah. So now we have agile. So, but we are not going on the topic. What's the difference between waterfall model? What are the advantages?
Yeah.
Now I'll just take an example. Okay. Yogesh and Yugender and Suraj, we three are running a startup company. We have our own infrastructure, maybe 2 to 3 BHK of space we have taken in an IT area, and maybe high tech city if you are in Hyderabad, or if you in IT says in Chennai, or maybe anywhere. We have just taken a space. We have taken all the commercial license. Everything is perfect, and we have got a client. Ramakrishna is our client. For example, just we are taking for this example for you to for me to explain you most of the concepts of waterfall, and also importance of cloud if it is present, and cloud providers if they are not present. I'll first take an example. Okay, if you are staying in your workplace, or maybe if currently wherever you're staying, and if you want to visit your native which is 100 kilometers away from your place with your family, you have two options. I give you two options. Which one you prefer? One option is to buy a car for 10 lakhs, and then pay the road tax, buy the insurance, and get the car to your home, and then visit your native place where whole financially it will cost you 11 lakhs nearly until the car comes on road. Then you have second option where you will be renting a car, booking it through any rent hailing applications like Ola, Uber, Zoom, which will cost you just 1500 or 2000 for to and fro. Maybe not logically for 100, maybe for 10,000 it might cost you. Which one is the better option, the first one or the second one?
So based on the like if you want like luxury, like it will be depend if the person
Financially,
have
which
the
one is the
Lumini.
better one? Just to complete
Second one
this
is better.
discussion with
In that case, the road one, like road one only, right?
the second option where you just buy the
Mm,
car, and here you're only paying and depending upon different parameters like the distance traveled, the time you have rented the car. Am I right? So
yeah.
what is the company doing? The company is actually renting you their product or the services. The product here is car, the service is the car driver who is, and you're only paying for what you're using. Okay, so this is just an example which before we start with a small, bigger example that I'm taking. So currently, understand that Yogesh, Yugender, and Suraj, we three, we have new joiner, that's a Jagdish, okay, and currently Yogesh, Yugender, Jagdish, and Suraj. We four of them have started a company in 2 to 3 BHK, and we have our first client who named Rama. Just take an example. Rama is a non-technical person and he owns his family business of jewelry shop. Okay, he has his jewelry stores in Hyderabad, Chennai, Delhi, Kolkata, and in all the metro cities, and the business nearly clocks 5 to 6 crores per annum. Okay, now. Uh, Ramakrishna being a tech savvy, he's a non-technical person but a tech savvy. He wants his business to be migrated online. Not migrated. Migrated is he should be present online, then you migrate it to any other. But he wants his presence online. Okay, so he understands that okay, I need a web application and a mobile application which is called as a e-commerce web store where people will come and buy his gold, silver, platinum, whichever business domain products he is selling. Okay, you guys understood until this here? Who is our
Yes.
client here?
So Ramakrishna.
Ramakrishna.
Ramakrishna, who owns a chain of jewelry stores in all the metro cities, and he wants to come. He doesn't understand. He doesn't want. He doesn't have to understand what is a web application, what is a stack, and what is front end, back end, what is a mobile, and he only understands okay web application and application as Android, BlackBerry or Windows, or what is the other mobile application, mobile apps you can develop is the iOS, right? So in this way, so that he can reach maximum customers, they can log in to his website. The name of the website he wants is as ramakrishnajewelers.com. Okay, he has a requirement that it should be a ramakrishnajewelers.com, and people from India, okay, should be able to log in and then buy gold, platinum, or silver on it. That's the basic requirement. Now you have two different kinds of websites, that is a static and dynamic. Any what's the difference between both of them? There's a static and dynamic.
Static is something like you have a standalone HTML pages and you don't have any business logic to implement the user queries or anything, right? So like that can be static, and if we implement and dynamic pages are something where we can implement JavaScript codes that will take real-time data, or it can do some manipulation on the data and present it to the user in a different way. So that becomes dynamic.
Exactly. Great example. A static website might, in a simple way, have 4 pages. It's a home, contact us, gallery, and maybe just a simple 2 galleries there. Dynamic website, depending upon the client, from where they capture from where he is actually accessing the website, and his use. You have the authentication, you have the security, and you have n number of lists that specify and changes dynamically upon the user event or user action. Okay, now as per the requirement in the first phase, we are just to show our capability, we have in the phase 1 as static, and the phase 2 as dynamic. So we started. What will be the first stage in our requirement? What will be the first stage to start with our first client who requires an e-commerce web application? What will be the second stage as per the waterfall model? Can anybody specify in this one?
First stage would be like requirement gathering, where he will understand the requirements, what he
Yeah,
needs. Then we will go with the technical feasibility of those requirements, yeah, analysis, and then technical feasibility and all those things, whether it can be implemented and what we can do, what we have to offer.
exactly. So as this batch is totally experienced, they will catch up if I take it a little bit faster. So in the requirement phase, of course, the architects and the managers would sit with Ramakrishna and they will get all the requirements for the static web page. There's home, the gallery, all the pics from the client and his contact details, and they would analyze it. In the analysis phase, depending upon the different phases that we are speaking, we would actually analyze it and give an HR thumbs up or a simple message that okay, we need we have decided that we'll do it in Java, the backend. Okay, we need 2 Java developers for the front end. We need 2 UI, HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, React or Angular. The front end guys, 2 backend guys, two in the sense if one is on leave, the others can take up the task. That's a basic in what happens in the IT, and then you have the 2 testers. Okay, so we ask the HR to recruit them, and after the recruitment and KT analysis phase, it is done, and we have developed it and we have started testing it. Okay, now what will be your last stage after the requirement analysis and testing? What will be your last stage?
Deploying it on the servers, maybe staging environment or then in the production environment, and do a
Okay.
round of testing.
Yes. So, as per the procedure, we'll just keep it as deployment. Now, think that you are in a pre-cloud era. What is the meaning of pre-cloud era, where there are no cloud providers like Amazon, Google, GCP, or Oracle, anybody? Just like you are not having any applications of car renting apps, and you have only one option to actually buy a car of 10 lakhs, buy the insurance, buy other things, and make it ready for the travel, and in that way. Okay, so you are in a pre-cloud. What you would do for the deployment and for the client to come online, for his website to be online? What will be the steps here? We are a small company. Okay, remember, we are a small company, we have our budget, but we are going to have our own servers, and we need to deploy, and it took nearly 3 months for us to actually develop the code. And then our client is asking, it's been 3 months, I have paid you all the things that is required, now show me something that is actually I can view it, or maybe show me the whole web application, so that I'll be the first customer, or his family members will be the first customer who will be buying the product. Okay, so what do you do to complete this stage?
So we
So
should
we
have.
will deploy on that on-prem servers, I guess.
Yeah, so you have an on-prem server. So can I erase this pic? You have any doubts or clearance on this one? So you are in the deployment phase, and in the pre-cloud, you are going for an on-prem. There is no other option, but you are going for the option of on-prem. Sorry guys, I'm very bad at diagram, but this is a server. Okay, now you have to understand what are the companies that are providing, maybe Apache, okay, IBM, and you also have to recruit the server engineers, server maintenance engineers. Am I right? The Java developers, the HTML developers, others are not the person qualified or suitable to maintain these servers. This server will have its own operating system. Am I right? this will have other things just same like your laptop. What are the other things that this server will have?
It will have a list of applications running some.
Yeah, then you have your apps that will be running on it. Okay, maybe you have the applications. Maybe if it is Java, you have the JSP container on it, or Apache. Then you have the operating system which you have, which is different from an operating system in your PC. You have the server operating system, which also comes in a flavor of Windows, Unix, Linux, Ubuntu. Then you have your iOS, different servers in that. You got the point here. The operating system of the server is different from what you're using in front of you. Am I right? Anybody says that they both are same?
Yeah, it's fine.
Right. Then you have your antivirus. Then what are the other things? Maybe a list of things that you need to take care. You bought the server, you ordered the server within 1.5 months, it will be reaching you to Hyderabad or Chennai, wherever you're located. From US, it is being shipped. You took 1.5 months, and you have to first pay all the financial cost, that is a 5 lakhs for only the hardware. Okay, then maybe 70 or 80K for the operating system license, just like you have paid 1K rupee for your Microsoft key. And then you have antivirus for the next 40K. Then you have applications. You should have the knowledge of application that you are actually installing, because you have used in the backend as Java. Then you should have, so that the client can actually use his browser and hit it once it is live. Okay, then everything this here is costing nearly 8 lakhs to you for one server. And you have developed the code, you deployed it, and you called up the client Ramakrishna, and you said, okay, this is live, this is the URL called, you have also bought the DNS name on it, you have the API, and then you called up the client Ramakrishna, and you gave the URL ramakrishnajewellers.com. Using his laptop, the client has used his Chrome browser or any other browser. He hits it and he sees the different pages in it. It's a static web page, and he's very happy. But do you think for this small project, static web page, client will be paying you nearly 8 lakhs?
No, actually, as per the market, you won't pay
Yeah.
that
So
much amount.
logical to understand. Sorry, guys. So logical to understand, this server will also have its own configuration. That this server can host up to 4 different web applications. Server are also of 2 categories. One is a web application server, and then normal application server. What do you understand by these 2 categories? Anybody?
No.
Okay, so you have a server, right, which can be from the Apache, IBM, and operating system can be Windows, Unix, or iOS in it. Now you have a web application server. The application is a web application type where you have the front end as well as the back end with the database. I'll let you know what is the front end and the back end. Front end is very simple with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, maybe any of the framework like React and Angular, you develop it. And just like it's an interface between the client, customer, or the user, and then you have the backend. So you go into an ATM, you see the screen, and you get to know it's a ATM for HDFC or maybe ICICI. It's the interface through which you get to know for which company it belongs to. Now you hit facebook.com, depending, seeing the web page itself, you say that this is a Facebook, this is a Google web page, okay, and it belongs to Google. So this is called as the UI part of it. And then you have the backend. and there are different tricks where you can understand that okay, Facebook is written in which programming language in the backend, or in the what database it is using. So those are the little different different topic where you will be understanding technically. Okay, but here once we are speaking about the server, you have a web application server and normal application. Only an application server. Think the web application, you have the whole this stack where you client is accessing using any domain name, using the URL. In an application server thing, I'm giving you an example here is your ATM is actually connecting with the HDFC ICICI ATM, which is in the backend, sending a request to HDFC. You are using the ATM of ICICI in an HDFC bank ATM. Okay, third party ATM, when you insert it, what happens? You hits to a server. A very simple ATM will in the backend hit the server for the bank of HDFC. It gets all the details, it does the transaction, and then disburses the amount. Okay, so here of course you have an interface, but sometimes interface is not important here. In the backend itself you have one application connecting with another application. Of course the underlying technology is very different technologies are there. For currently I'm just taking an example where you are connecting your application to another application in the backend, and there is no UI part of it. Okay, you are just writing an application which will connect to a different application and does the complete the requirement here. Got it? Any doubts about what is a web application and normal application server?
Yeah, got it.
For them the operating system and other factors will be same, only the application will be very different. One example I can take from the IBM is a mainframe which will have consider this particular server can host up to 4 different web applications. So we are running we have deployed and we are running the ramakrishnajewellers.com on it, maybe Facebook, any gaming application which will have the UI, and XY is different 4 different web applications we are running on it. Now consider you got the client, first client, second client, third client, and you have booked one server for 8 lakhs. Being a small company with 2 or 3 BHK, one space we have kept it as a server room. Of course, we have paid all the commercial license for keeping the server in our premises. Okay, and then you started with your clients. Everybody is happy. You're now think that you got another client. Okay, and he may or may not be financially big. Maybe he might be just paying 1 lakh for his web application. But as a company, are you going to decline saying that I can only cater for 4 web application, not for 5? What will be your steps to acquire, start development and deployment of this one? You have only one server. What will be the next step? Yeah,
then we need to scale up our server, right? If suppose in future we may have more clients coming up, then we should have the thought process like if some more clients are coming, then how to scale up the servers to
Scale
meet
up
the
the
requirement.
servers fine, but this configuration says that you can only from the IBM it says that only 4 applications can be hosted on it, not more than that. This is strict rule. Then you have to buy another server,
Yeah,
hardware part.
scaling. Yeah,
Exactly right. You need to
yeah,
buy another server which will again cost which you need to again buy the operating system for it, antivirus, then the same application you give a call to the IBM in US or maybe Asia office, and then this whole 1.5 month you have to wait. And if you are good enough, then you just your cost is again 8 to 11 lakhs again, repeated cost for what you have done for your first 4 clients, just for this first client. Okay, so in the pre-cloud era this was the thing happening. And let's see, So you understand what is a waterfall life cycle, and this particular workshop for the next 30 to 45 days will be for developers and the DevOps. And okay, so coming to the next parts of the project, you understand what is a front end, back end, repository, deployment, and difference between a cost of infrastructure, cost of resources. Okay, any doubts in that? Let me know. The cost of infrastructure is like you are buying the servers, you are buying for the office cost. Cost for the resources is like you are hiring the developers. Those are the resources that you are hiring the server maintenance engineer. Okay, now coming, as I have given you all the examples of the pre-cloud era, now let's can anybody tell me why have you started only with AWS as cloud, and why are you actually starting your career or skilling up yourself for the cloud platform? Until that, I log in with my AWS account and show you how easy it is to actually get provision a server. Provision in the sense you rent your server with different parameters within some less than 10 mouse clicks. Okay, so why are you actually going for the cloud platform, and in specific AWS? Yugenda?
So why? Because it will be uh, like if the license is like costing low, then we can go, easily go to that AWS, right? No need to spend like 8 lakhs and that much of the amount.
Okay. Yogesh, why are you actually getting skilled up for cloud and
So
in specific with
yeah.
AWS?
The first reason is the client is very much interested into implementing the cloud services into their projects, and they don't want to invest more on the infrastructure, and they want everything that is available to us. And instead of spending more on the infrastructure, we should be focusing more on the cloud things, where we are getting the instances and machine servers, everything as a service, and we can implement it as long as we want it. Means it's a need base.
Yep.
So this is
Ramakrishna?
hello.
Sorry, Yogesh, you were saying something. I interrupted. Sorry.
Yeah, actually, it's a basically it's a client driven. Means the client expects us to learn the any cloud technologies, mainly AWS. So they have chosen this cloud technology AWS to go through into their projects.
Okay.
So and
Jagdeep?
yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I think there is a lag of 2 to 3 seconds whenever you start. That's the reason I'm switching to another other student. Sorry. Please continue, Yogesh.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's mainly a client driven. The client is very much interested into the cloud to implement the to have a cloud technologies on board into our projects, and
Okay.
infrastructure and everything is one thing that they want to have a cost cutting on that part.
Mhm.
So basically, it is a client driven. Means according to the client, we are upgrading ourselves to the cloud technologies. Even our companies are also like that. Means they have a lot of uh, sessions going on cloud. So how much important it is for you in future, and what are the benefits that you will be deriving from cloud? If you are a cloud uh, something, you can do something on the clouds, those kind of things.
Yeah, we call it as a cloud practitioner or cloud engineer. We'll come to know what are the
Yes.
different certifications it is that. Okay. Anything
Yeah.
from
So
Jagdish and Ramakrishna?
Yes, Srijan. Uh, at the end of the day,
Do
is a
you think you
business
have
is a
started
more
with the
important
cloud
thing.
and AWS in specific? Okay. I think there might be some other issues. There is some network. But anyway, at the end of the demo, once the recording is stopped, we'll get to know the motivation for Ramakrishna and Jagdish to start up with cloud as a career and specifically for the AWS one. Okay. Now, guys, I'll show you how you can provision in server. And in AWS server name under the section, you can see the different services that are provided by AWS is in the section. You have the console. Using the console, you can access all the services provided by AWS, and here is all the services in different categories. The category, the compute, like you have your laptop or the desktop, you have the compute processor, and the server is kept under the compute category. We'll be going through, we'll be getting hands-on with the EC2 Lambda and the whole details of all the products that we'll be going through in this workshop or training in the next 30 to 45 days will be provided to you as a syllabus, as a link by Durgasoft or Nazir sir. Okay. So in the compute, we'll be going through the EC2 Lambda. Okay. And serverless. In the storage S3 is same like your Google Drive, where you place your files and you have an object kind of thing. So in the storage part, S3 EFS. In the database, you have two types of database, that is RDBMS and NoSQL. So RDS is called as the RDBMS part of in the AWS and DynamoDB here. Elastic Cache is one of the important there. Then you have other developer tools will become going through in the DevOps this section. You have other things like machine learning, which you can actually leverage directly without having an on-prem server, AR, VR, cost management, business application, and I, as repeatedly said, you'll be sent with a syllabus and the link which will let you know what are the products that we'll be covering, what are the services that we'll be doing hands-on with that, okay, and what is the total duration for it, okay. Now, understanding the course content, of course, you have the link for that. The targeted audience is like even a fresher who is starting his career, or anybody has an experience. I can understand. I give the examples in such a way that even uh, experienced guys with little patience, they can understand all the examples and they can remember why this particular product is being used. Why are we using it first? Instance as the cloud, or why a particular EC2 as a server of different parameters are being used. Okay, many examples. So the targeted audience can be a fresher or even 15 years into an IT with as a developer who is very new to the cloud. Even 2 years with the cloud, he will still at the end of the day after joining will be able to grab some knowledge from the examples given. Okay, now what is Amazon? Okay, just like Amazon is a company, it's not just a cloud provider, but also it has a e-commerce section. The Kindle e-book readers as a section for that. It was started by Jeff Bezos in 1995, selling books, DVDs, CDs. You know the history. If not, then please go through it as an assignment. Okay, because cloud provider, the actual market share for AWS. What is the market share for AWS? Anybody?
Not sure.
65%. Okay. So as an assignment you can take. So once we have started with it, you will be having interactive sessions as well as assignments. So 10 minutes before we can have a doubt clarifications part. 10 minutes after the session every day you can have doubt clarifications if you have any. Okay. Now AWS is one of the important in the whole Amazon. AWS as a web services cloud computing platform. The website says that AWS Amazon.com, or maybe you can have your console here. Okay. Now, what is the definition of a geographical region? The availability zones is like very simple. You had your own startup, Yogesh, Jagdish, and Suraj have started their startup. They had one server, and think that. our client Ramakrishna have started associating with us. He has given one of the project in the phase 2. He has given the same. We have extended the project to make it dynamic, and we have completed 1 to 2 year, completed 6 months as the maintenance for it. Now, think guys, there is one day in India where everybody buys gold, silver, or platinum. Any idea what is the particular day? Of course, before Diwali, before Dashera, also people buy gold, but there is one specific day where the business will be totally high for our client.
Jay, Akshay Tritiya.
Akshay Tritiya or Dhanteras, we call it, right? So in a domain knowledge, you have your own website which is being hosted on a server, a simple server, and you have the active users, nearly 10,000 active users every day. And Ramakrishna has nearly. What is the meaning of 10,000 active users? What is the meaning of an active user or active client?
Active, so user means on the daily basis, he will open the application and he will see whether
The
like
active
what are
user
the
of the
things available.
application or active user of the product. So you have the Google, you have the active users, nearly a billion active users for maybe a minute or a hour. Okay, so you have metrics for that one. For the Facebook, nearly half a billion active users every minute. You can find them every hour. You can find it, right? So you have different stats for it. So Ramakrishna has found out, okay, that active users for every day they are 10,000, and he needs to scale, he needs to expand his business. But on the day of Dhanteras or Diwali, he found out there is a sudden surge in active users, the gold rates are down, and everything is going as per the business domain it is expected. And your server crashes because the server can take up only for 1 lakh active users, and active users are nearly 5 lakhs, and you have only one server deployed by our startup company where you have invested nearly 8 to 11 lakhs. You have another server in your room, but it is not deployed or not active. You have not anticipated that there will be 5 lakh active users on the Dhanteras or Diwali. What will be your steps? Mitigation steps. Yeah, Yugender, Yogesh, Jagdish, we four are actually managing it. What will be your steps or opinion to actually uh, the client has approached that the website is down, and for every 1 hour of business if it is down, there is a loss of 5 cr. Now this is the situation. What will you guys be doing or helping us to actually gain the confidence from the client Ramakrishna?
So here the request there is a surge in the request at a particular event. So at that particular of time period, the client should have thought of implementing some load balancers so that it will serve those surge request surge on that particular day. So
See,
it should be
our
like
client,
redirecting the surge request to some other server where the our application is deployed.
sorry to interrupt, but client is a non-technical person. As said, he's a non-technical person. We are technical
Yeah,
persons, and we are having our own company. It is our responsibility to let client know that okay, we are also providing that in case the client number of active users surges, we are providing you with an extra server which will cost you. But at our side, we should also have one more this part of finance to actually have this hardware, so that, and also as you said, you should also have a load balancer, right? A load
Yes.
balancer, practically to keep it, is also a kind of server which will first take up the client depending upon this. So
Yeah,
again, you
it will
load
redirect
balancing
the
operating
requests.
system for this. Yeah. So operating system, the antivirus for it, everything again, because this is a small server, it might cost another 3 lakhs. So are you ready to only for a day, because there is an active user, there is search in the metrics, right? To keep
yeah,
and invest another 3 lakhs. So uh, got it? the
Yeah, yeah.
difficulty on premises, and then you
Yes.
also should have another server which will be redirecting the API calls, right? So
Yes.
everything can be taken as a service from AWS. The load balancer here, Route 53 or Route S3 or Route 53, sorry. And you also have the API gateway as a service from the cloud. You just provision it with some five mouse clicks. You attach your secondary server and you attach one of the server, another server, and maybe you just select the checkbox that it is scalable. Okay, and
Yes.
if more than one, like in the configuration or in the during the scalable configuration, you say that if more than 1 lakh is automatically provision a
Redirected to
server
a
to
different
this.
server.
Exactly. And if this is ticked, then automatically a new server will be active and another 1 lakh will be redirected. The traffic will be redirected here. As it reaches the 3 lakhs, 2 lakhs 99 to 3 lakhs, the first client above the 3 lakhs will be redirected to a new server. Okay. And the traffic will be mitigated. There will be no crash in the server. Got it? So this is how you can do it in the AWS way or any cloud provider way. Now, think guys, what's a data center? Data center is like nearly 1 kilometer of a full factory. I'm just giving a general idea what is a data center. Nearly half a kilometer or 1 kilometer of big factory containing thousands of server of different kinds like load balancer. You have seen all the services from the Amazon, all those different services as a hardware is kept in that particular data center. And which is the nearest data center for us of AWS? Any idea?
Mumbai location.
Mumbai location, exactly. So you might have seen that when I logged into the console, by default I'm going into Mumbai location. Okay, now I'll give you one more example where Ramakrishna has started receiving requests from US also. He has started receiving from the European countries, but we have our server in Mumbai, provisioned in Mumbai. He is also receiving requests from Australia. Any client who is actually using the website is finding a 2 seconds or here he
Lag.
is finding 5 seconds of latency, and he is finding 2 seconds of lag. Here 3 seconds of lag. Now what you can do here if you have your on-prem? Currently you are again in the pre-cloud era is the situation here. What you will do?
Then we need to set up a different infrastructure to those locations, and it will involve a cost.
Exactly,
And
you need your own office here. Maybe any third-party provider who will provide the server, but your own code will be pushed upon them. Or maybe if you have a restriction that you cannot use a third party, you will have in each of the country you will have an office. To set up that office, you have again financially there is a question. Then again you will ask the IBM or an Apache to ship that to particular country or to Australia, again nearly 15 lakhs because there is a dollar conversion rate. There's a big hectic, right? Using the cloud, you can actually change the location here. I can select US, Ohio, click on it, provision the server there directly, and I will be billed exactly whatever the cost requires there. And whatever cost requires for me for Mumbai, and I have provisioned EC2. Let's check what are the currently products that I have provisioned. Let's see anything that is running at my side. There are no instances running in Mumbai. If I want any of the instances, any of the server in Europe, Frankfurt, I can directly select it from here. If I select directly click here, it will, and whatever this code I deploy, it will be present. So all the clients from the Europe, they will be able to access it and there will be no latency. Okay, so that is the one feasible way for the cloud one. Okay, so you have geographical areas In the US, you can see these are the points. This is the pic from the 2018. When I started in 2012 as a cloud practitioner, there were nearly these many regions. Currently, there are many regions. Okay, and you also have the edge. You will get to know what is an edge available zone. Okay, once we go more into the classes, you understood what is a region. Region contains data centers. Data contains there are thousands of servers there. Fine with that? Any doubts?
No, as of now.
No. Okay. So what does AWS offer? AWS offer availability. As you have your, I'll give you one more example. If you're having your on premises, you're in a startup, you have given your one of the room as server room. Now think there is a natural calamity. If you're in the US, your office has been hit by tornado, or in your if you are in any of the city, there is a whole electricity is gone for the next 2 to 3 days. Again, there is an outage and there is a complaint from our client Ramakrishna that okay, because of this outage and there is no backup, you guys are for 1 hour or maybe one day I'm losing 5 CR. Okay, now coming to the availability, if you have hosted, if you have taken AWS server in Mumbai, and if the whole it gives you an AWS states that there will be an availability of 11 nines. What is the meaning of 11 nines? That means 99.999 times the server will be available. In worst case, even if Mumbai data center is down, automatically it will be redirected to the nearest data center, even if you have selected manually or not. But Amazon will make sure that if anything goes wrong at their side, your code which is deployed, your customers or your clients which are accessing this web application or any other application on the server in the data center of Mumbai will not be affected. They will be redirected to any other data center. Now there is a question: if there is a redirect, there will be a latency, right? Am I right?
Yes.
If it is in Mumbai, anybody from Chennai, they will find a different latency. If the same data center is hosted, because Mumbai is down, it is hosted in Indonesia or Malaysia, data center is there, then the people from Delhi or Chennai might find some lag. They will be seeing a loading. Will that happen? No. AWS will make sure that there is no latency, even if the customer from client, if he is accessing from Mumbai, if they have the same faster, there is no latency, there is no, they won't find it any difference. In the backend, we have moved our code to Frankfurt, okay, because Mumbai was down. Then the customers from Chennai will not see any difference or any latency, even if it is hosted in Frankfurt. This is the guarantee given by the AWS. That's the reason it's a market leader. Okay. Now elasticity, scale up, scaling up, scaling down. If you have selected scaling as an option, automatically depending upon the number of active users, new server will be provisioned, new load balancers will be provisioned, database as a service if you have selected, it will be increased. Every product and service will be is scalable in AWS. Okay, then pay as you go. Currently, if we guys have developed code for Ramakrishna and we have our billing will only be if Amazon will only bill us for the time we deployed the code in the server, and we uninstalled, we undeployed, we have removed the code from the server. For that particular slot only, we will be billed. For example, I have deployed the code, deployed the web application in one of the server. I have provisioned it for nearly 1 hour, 2 minutes, 35 seconds, and 4 milliseconds. I will be paying only for that particular time. That means if, for example, 8 hours, 5 minutes, 10 seconds, or milliseconds, I'll be billed only for this one, not for 8 hours, 30 minutes, or 9 hours. Exact time they will be billing. And you have different simulators, different cost explorers. depending upon parameter and the time, the deployment, it can give you the cost that is occurring. You can actually predict the cost. Okay, so these are the list of services from the AWS which we'll be covering. Of course, this might contain less. You will be giving a link and a syllabus section from that on the AWS. Now coming to the very important part, then you have the foundation level. You need to create the foundation level in the AWS. Then you can go for the operations or the as a developer or as an architect. Now, what's the difference between an operations and a developer? Anybody? Yeah, guys, did I lose the connection?
No, Suresh. It's a operation means like a who
The
it's a
team who is
process
working in
of
the operations, making sure that new employees, so you have different departments in the operations team also, right? You have one team which will make sure that, okay, new employee comes here provided by the laptop, mouse, keyboard, all the things, and they maintain the inventory. And then you have different team. Think that Facebook or Google, these things are developed, right? So they have an operations team which will maintain these web applications. So every company will have, once they have developed the code, developed the product, they have a maintenance team also, right? So this team will make sure that everything is running smooth. So these are operations team, and the developers are the ones who might develop the new feature in an existing product, just like your web application. If you have to include the chat feature or a video feature in it, okay. And think that OLX or Ola. Ola as a company might hire new developers to have their video KYC done. They don't have their video KYC being done. So that feature which need to be added, they'll have a new developer. So developer will might start it from the scratch, or they might start it with an existing application adding the feature. The operations team, the department in the Ola or OLX, the website is developed, the products are developed. So the maintenance, if something goes wrong, it is the operations team, the production support guys who will come into action and make sure everything is going smooth. Then you have the architects. In the foundation, you need to complete the foundation level for the AWS. Then you can opt for operations or developers. Then you can become a DevOps, or then the next procedure will be to become an architect, associate level. Then you have the professional level. After everything, you can actually then do the specialty. Maybe I'm doing the machine learning part of it. You can be a security expert, advanced networking, Alexa skills, and big data part of it. Okay. So the next PPT also shows the same. The first level is the AWS certification, cloud practitioner. Then you can go at the associate architect, associate developer, associate. This is the associate part. Then you have the level as the professional part, then as the specialty part. Okay. Any doubts? Yeah, guys.
no from side. No from my side.
Okay. Then you have competitors for AWS. Any list? You can give me the competitors for AWS in the cloud field.
Azure,
Azure from Microsoft. Yep. Next. Google. From the Google, they have the machine learning as a strength. Oracle database as the strength. IBM Rackspace. What is the strength of AWS? No idea. So as an assignment take up, I'll tell you AWS is good at all the parts. That's the reason it's a market leader in as a cloud provider. Okay. We are done with the demo. Any queries, questions, suggestions, complaints? Let me know. Yep, Ramakrishna, Jagdish, Yugender, I think there is one candidate who
So
lost
like
the connection.
after, yeah, Suresh, after this training, like up to which certification we can able to do? Like
See, you
which
need to first
certification we can?
complete the foundation level certificate, then you can go for associate as a developer, or we are training here for the DevOps. Okay, so for the
Okay.
DevOps one, which will cover the administrator as well as the developer part of it. Okay, so we are
Okay.
aiming for
Okay.
this one in this training or workshop.
Okay.
Any more queries, questions?
Suraj,
So
uh,
yeah.
for attempting solution architect related certification, is it matches the I can reach that questions which I can face, right?
Yes, exactly. So here, as this is a combination of these three things, as an associate architect, you need to first clear the practitioner level, then you can go for the associate. But you need to understand all the product and services from the AWS, and this workshop or the training will give you that knowledge of being developer administrator. Then you can go for some of the products which are associated for the architectural level, but as a basic level, which this course will give you, this workshop will give you as an idea, which will cover most of the products from maybe 99% of the architectural. See, what does an architect do? He will have the knowledge of all the components, products, services. Then he makes an architectural diagram. Am I right? He should be aware of all the things. If he has, there is a scenario like the data needs to be processed from one end to another, but taking up the data from the client, right? How do you take the data from here? Is he sending from the email, or he needs to upload it in a S3? You should be aware about S3. Okay, at an architectural level, to become aware, you should have hands-on with the S3 buckets, S3 as a product, or the service from the AWS. So you'll be doing that hands-on with in this demo. Now, the number of services, number of products you know in the AWS will be like your knowledge level, and depending upon the requirement, like if it is a web application, what should be the front end, what should be the back end, you can use these from the AWS. That is an architectural associate. So 99% it's the same. Only thing is that you'll have a different questions in that, different one or two different product, more products will be added. But the very basic level is to understand all the services from the AWS, for which we'll be doing hands-on in that, which will be covered in this part. I hope that it answers your query. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other question?
And what are the like how many days in the week the training will be available? Like
So
from
as this is
Monday to.
just a demo, and if we four of them are there, and this is a batch, then we'll come to the conclusion depending upon my availability. We have two other session batches going on, which will be scheduled. You might be transferred to those batches depending upon the availability of mine. Okay, and your availability, if you need it from morning 7 to 8, and just a minute, let me keep the charging. Depending upon the availability, if you are for the weekdays, that is Monday to Friday 6 hours, or if you only for the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, our backend team will schedule for it. Okay, you can send the mail, or Nazir sir will actually give you all the details on it. But for sure, depending upon your availability and the batches we'll be having, and the whole duration is like 30 to 45 hours. You complete the same thing from Monday to Friday being 6 hours, or the weekends. And also, if you are in Monday to Friday for 6 hours, and if you are willing to even join on the Saturdays and Sundays upon availability of my time for me to complete this batch little faster with attendance on Saturday and Sunday, depending upon your availability also, we can complete it once we need to start it. That's it. Okay.
Yeah,
I
okay,
hope that
Suresh.
answers the query.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. If you do not have anything, let's wind up for the day. We'll call it a day. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Suresh.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.